In this section, we're going to be finding the equation of lines. So there's three things that we need to do. Find the equation of line given the slope and y-intercept, equation of the line given a point and a slope, and equation of the line given 2 points. So we honestly have already talked about finding the slope, the equation of a line, if I give you the slope and y-intercept. You just may not remember it. Remember our equation y equals mx plus b? Well, the m is my slope, and the b is the y-intercept. So if I've already told you what the slope is, I plug it in here, and I'll tell you what the y-intercept is. I plug it in there, and that's my equation of the line. Y equals 3x minus 4. So that's all you have to do. So for this one, y equals mx plus b. Just remember the slope is the one that gets the x. And then there's my y-intercept. Now, notice on number 3, they didn't actually tell you that it was a y-intercept. They just told you it was through a certain point. But look at that point. It has a 0 in the x. So that means it doesn't go right or left at all, but then it goes up to 3. So that is the y-intercept. So they don't have to actually tell you it's a y-intercept. If the x value is 0, it's your y-intercept. So you're just going to do the exact same thing. The slope gets the x value, and then you put the y-intercept in. Slope gets the x value, then you put the y-intercept in. Okay, so if they give you the y-intercept, it's going to be a piece of cake. Now, what happens if they gave you a point where you do not have the y-intercept? It's just any old point. This is the one you're going to use the most, but you need to have an actual formula. But you already have a formula that we can just tweak a little bit. So we have y2 minus y1 equals x2 minus x1. That's our slope formula, right? So all I'm going to do to get the next formula is I'm going to put a 1 underneath my m, and then I'm just going to cross multiply. So I'm going to bring that down, cross multiply, and I'm going to get y2 minus y1, and then cross multiply on this side. So that's going to be equal to slope times x2 minus x1. Now, how many points did I tell you I was going to give you? Find the equation of the line given a slope through the given coordinate. Okay, not 2 points, but just 1 point. So notice that my formula has 2 points in it. It says y2 minus y1 equals the slope times x2 minus x1. So, but I only have 1 point. So I don't need the little 2 under there. I just need it to say y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1, because I'm going to plug my slope in here, and then I'm going to plug my point in the x1 and y1. So let's just work one. And again, the easiest way to remember these formulas is to write them out every single time. So find the slope of the equation of a line, the slope of 2 passing through the point 1, 4. So I would have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And by the way, that actually has a name for that formula. And we use that formula anytime we're given a point and a slope. So it's called the point-slope formula. Okay, so now we're going to put my slope in there. Wherever there's a slope, there's the slope of 2. So I'm going to put it right there. And then I'm going to put my x's and my y's, my y minus, what's my y1? Remember, y1 is the value of the y. So I'm going to put the 4 right there. And then, of course, my x1 is going to be the value of my x. So I just plug those in. And that's an ugly looking line. I can't just go straight from that and graph it. So let's make it something that we can go straight to a graph. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute my 2. So I get 2x minus 2. And then I'm going to solve it for y. So I get y equals 2x plus 2. So that's the equation of the line that has a slope of 2, and it goes through the point 1, 4. Okay, let's do one more. Again, point slope formula, y minus y1 is slope times x minus x1. So y minus, what is my y1? What's the y value? -4. Notice that I've got a double negative. Now, in the case of this formula, anytime you have a negative here, you will always have a double negative because you have a negative right here before the x1 and the y1. So now let's put my slope in, minus 2/3, and that's times my x minus, what's my x1? It's your x value. It's just going to be 6. So now, again, I want to go ahead and just distribute so I do not have to deal with that parentheses. So I got y plus 4 is minus 2/3 x, and then I've got this minus 2/3 times minus 6. Now, you can go ahead and figure that out. I'm going to go ahead and cancel and get a positive 4. Or you could have said 18/3, and then, excuse me, 12/3, and then get a 4 that way. Or you can plug it in your calculator. However you want to get that 4 sitting there. Now, I'm going to solve it for y, so I get y all by itself. I'm going to subtract my 4. Now, notice that it cancels out. So it will be -2/3 x plus 0, but you don't have to put the plus 0 there. Okay? Let me do 2 more. Actually, let me do, let's do 2 more. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. I'm going to plug it in. Y minus, what's my y value? The 8. Now remember, always put your y value in first, okay? And then my slope is 5/7. Whoops. And then the x is what? Minus 2. Now notice it's a minus, so when I plug it in, I'm going to get a double negative. Always happens when you're using this formula. So that turns into a plus. Now from here, you've got a couple of options. You can, if you love fractions, you can distribute the fraction and get 5/7 x, and then get plus 10/7, and then add your 8. Ugh. This is not very fun. And then I'm going to plug that in my calculator, okay? And I'm going to wind up with, let's see, what am I going to wind up with? Minus 8. 8 goes here. Let's see, so 10/7 plus, I got to get 7ths on the bottom. That's what, 56/7? 8 times 7? 8 times 7 is 56. So that's going to give me 66/7. Okay. So you can do that when you plug it in your calculator. That's one way to do it. Or, let me show you one other option. This is for non-fraction people. Non-fraction folks. Okay, so I've got y minus 8, same thing. 5/7 x plus 2, right? I'm going just straight from here to here. Okay, I don't like dealing with fractions. So I'm going to multiply this side by 7 and this side by 7. You may remember doing that to get rid of fractions when you're working with equations back in chapter 2. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute that 7y minus 56. Then over here, the cool part, the 7's actually cancel out. So I'm just going to distribute my 5. So I get 5x plus 10. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing and solve it for y. But this time, see, when I'm solving for y, I'm not dealing with fractions because I got rid of them. And then I got 66, and then I divide by 7. Remember, divide each little piece by 7. That way you can look at it and know exactly what the slope is, 5/7. And then your y-intercept. See, so we get the same answer. Just depends on what you want to do.